This right here, people, this right here brings a smile to my face. Hideo Kojima thinks Americans are too dense to understand Death Stranding. So before we even get into this video, I would just like to say, if you like the content, subscribe, hit the like button, check out Weapon Wheel Podcast, check out some of my older videos, check out the Corporate Slave Awards, or not, but hey, you do what you have to do. But before we even get into the video, I just want to show you, I am not clout chasing, because 5 years ago I said Kojima, Metal Gear, and Sony developers are overrated. 5 months ago I said Death Stranding looks like absolute trash, Hideo Kojima, still overrated. And 1 week ago, Death Stranding, another overrated trash game by Hideo Kojima, Walking Simulator confirmed, and I am right in all 3 videos because I'm me. I'm usually always right. So let's get into what this delusional tool has to say right here. Hideo Kojima thinks Americans are too dense to understand Death Stranding. Death Stranding creator Hideo Kojima quizzed over the over the critical reception to the game. Hideo Kojima attributed stronger criticism in the US due to Americans lacking the artistic sensibility to understand Death Stranding. The artistic sensibility. We are talking about a video game, not a painting, Van Gogh, but okay. Review scores from the US press aren't noticeably lower than other regions. Shouldn't it be are noticeably lower than other regions? I don't know who wrote this article, but their English might not be so great. Hideo Kojima, let me zoom this in so y'all can see. Hideo Kojima puts the perceived stronger criticism of Death Stranding from US reviewers down to Americans lacking artistic sensibility to understand the game. Death Stranding requires artistic sensibility. Really? Really? Because when it comes to playing a video game, something that requires coordination, reactions, and input, you need an artistic sensibility. Sounds like you should have made a movie, man. In an interview with Italian outlet TGCom24, Kojima was asked whether he was satisfied with the critical reception to Death Stranding, and in true Kojima style responded with the following. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Let's get a load of this right here. I must say that the game received rave reviews, especially in Europe and Japan. Here in the United States, however, we have had stronger criticisms. Perhaps it is a difficult game to understand for a certain type of critic and audience. Americans are great fans of first-person shooters, and Death Stranding is not. I will always try to create new things, and disputes and discussions are fine, but it has to be said that Italians or the French have a different artistic sensibility that allows them to appreciate this brand of very original products, not only in video games, but also in cinema. What was the last good Italian and French movie that people were raving about, Kojima? Oh, here we go, though. It's worth considering that Kojima's point may have been lost in translation. Oh, man. And these are the average Metascores by region. Okay. So America rated the game higher than Asia. But I'm sorry, I thought we were just stupid Americans that didn't know any better. That's interesting. Asia rated the game lower than America, and yet he's up here crying about Americans and about how Americans only like first-person shooters. Ain't that some bull crap? First of all, that's a bold-faced lie. The most critically acclaimed darling of his generation is The Witcher 3. An RPG, a Western RPG, a heavily story and character-driven RPG, and yet there's no guns in it. It's not in first-person mode. It's not a shooter. That's funny to me. What's also funny to me is that here in America, in this fabulous country, I must say, we support Japanese projects and games more than Japan does. We do. I mean, before we even get into the sales, let's just expose Kojima as a fraud here real quick. 2019, games right here. Americans tend to, like these first-person shooter games, and they just can't appreciate the depth and the artistic complexity of Death Stranding. Red Dead Redemption, not a first-person shooter. Divinity Original Sin, not a first-person shooter. Sekiro, a Japanese game, not a first-person shooter. Resident Evil 2, a Japanese game, not a first-person shooter. Final Fantasy, Nier Automata, Dragon Quest XI, Monster Hunter World, all Japanese games, all not first-person shooters. Disco Elysium, an RPG. Tetris, Ori and the Blind Forest, Asgard's Wrath, F1 2019, Devil May Cry, not a first-person shooter, Japanese game. Fire Emblem, not a first-person shooter, Japanese game. Slay the Spire, Apex Legends. Okay, we have one first-person shooter up on this list of highly rated games here in America, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We are over 20 games in before we even find one first-person shooter in 2019. Link's Awakening, another Japanese game. Cuphead, a running gun game. Astral Chain, another Japanese game. Frostpunk, didn't even know that game was on consoles. A city builder game. Dragon Quest Builders, a Japanese game. Like, what is Kojima thinking? The lies, the hypocrisy over his bruised ego. His bruised ego over his little 83 score. Oh, poor baby. Poor baby. You have a lot of people frustrated that this game's not even a game. And yet you have a lot of his fan base who are triggered by reality, trying to upvote the game, but they're saying that Kojima's triggering everybody else. If Kojima's triggering everybody, why is he the one complaining about reviews? That's funny. So, I thought of something pretty funny, right? Kojima says that, us stupid Americans can't understand his games. Yet Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, sold more in America by more than 3 times than Japan. It didn't even crack 1 million copies in Japan. Funny how that works, though. Guns of the Patriots. Oh, look at that. Couldn't break 1 million in Japan, but sold over 2.5 million in America. Dick Eater, Metal Gear Solid 3. Oh, look at that. Sold more in America than it did in Japan. Imagine that. The Phantom Pain. Look at that. Sold more in America than it did in Japan. And I know this is VG charts, and these are, as I call them, VG estimates. But the estimates always show that Kojima's games sell more in America than they do in Japan. Peace Walker. Let's see. Oh, Peace Walker. Finally, a game that sold more in Japan than America. So I'm not biased, just cherry picking. They like their handhelds better, you know that. Portable Ops, I'll guarantee that sold more in Japan too. Oh, a Dead Heat. Let's see. We can't choose the Xbox version of games. That just wouldn't be fair. Ground Zeroes. More in Japan. How about we go to another Kojima game? Zone of Enders. Now, I wonder where Zone of Enders sold more at. Japan or America? Oh, wait. It sold more in America. Zone of Enders, the second runner. Oh, wait. It sold more in America. But even any Warzone event in his games. I don't know. But the bottom line is this, people. This man is salty. This man right here is hurt. This man can't accept the fact that, one, the game has a higher review score in America than it does in Asian regions. Two, that until you get to number 20, the highest rated games of 2019 are not first-person shooters. And three, he just can't help it that American people in the United States of America, buy his products and his games more than the people do in Japan. So you're wrong about who supports you more, you're wrong about who reviews you more favorably, and you're wrong about Americans, liking first-person shooters more and not having the depth and the complexity to understand your game. Otherwise, people wouldn't be playing a game with the complexity of Sekiro. People would not be playing a game like Disco Elysium. People would not be playing a game like Fire Emblem. I'm sorry, Kojima. You are a fraud, and you are damage controlling. You cannot argue the numbers here, the numbers here, the numbers here, that number there, and the review scores here. You, sir, have been exposed as a delusional, egotistical fraud.